fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am so excited for this video because we're going to be playing with the new Singe Beauty Galactic Visitor palette. This is the first eyeshadow release from Singe and it is such a fun theme and a beautiful color story. Kind of half warm tones, half cool tones. We've got a mixture of light and deep mattes, some super sparkly shimmers. So in today's video, we're going to go through and do some up close, really in-depth swatches of every single shade, and then we're also going to be doing 2 different looks with this palette. I really wanted to fit in 2 looks instead of 1 because it is my first time trying this formula. That way at the end of the video, when I kind of give you my final first impression thoughts of the palette, I have a better formulated opinion and a little bit more experience with the shadows. So if you're wanting to see everything you need to know about the new Galactic Visitor palette, let's jump on in. Isn't this packaging just so fun? I love how vibrant all of the colors are. It just makes you excited for what is inside. So starting off, we have the shade We, which is a just like muted yellow pastel shade. Oh, my cat just shook my camera. Sorry about that. We have Come, kind of beige icy shade. It's reminding me of a shade that was so popular from MAC, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what it was called. Very, very nostalgic, but love that kind of shade for my under my brow bone or to use as a face highlighter. And then we've got In, which I would call a very soft peach matte. Peace with our little cowboy hat or cowgirl hat, whatever you want it to be. That is a really beautiful, deep, rich, very red toned brown. Okay, so I would definitely describe that shimmer as more of a satin tone. The mattes feel soft. Ooh, that one's very, very pigmented. Honestly, I can't even see brown in it, really swatching it out. I feel like in the palette it looks more brown, but on my arm like that, it's really giving burgundy. We have Space Dust, which looks like a really beautiful sparkly gold shimmer. And I would say that feels like a traditional shimmer shadow. It's not like that super creamy, wet texture. It has a soft kind of powdery texture to it. We've got Soul, which looks like a really beautiful bright yellow matte. Hoodoos, kind of just a light peach matte. And then Cowgirl. Okay, that one is definitely more of a brown toned red, I think, especially in comparison with Peace. I feel like that whole row right there would be such a cute look. Ooh, that's so cute. It's reminding me of Belle's dress. We've got Saucer, which looks like such a pretty kind of pastel teal matte. Beam. Ooh, that's super soft, very creamy. And it's a like blue, purple, green shifting shade. That's really gorgeous. I love that. Believe. This one also feels like a traditional powder shadow, just like Space Dust. You can see it's a really sparkly indigo. And then we have Infinity. Okay. I feel like this is the second palette that I've swatched this week that has a shade named Infinity. And my directioners, you know, I'm trying not to sing right now, but this is a really beautiful, super deep, kind of peacocky, blue teal type shade. Really, really pretty. It does kind of remind me of one of the tones in Club Nebula. I low-key see that here. And again, these 4 shades together, such a vibe. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't know. I feel like this little section right here might be my favorite. We've got Encounter, another creamy, soft shade, just similar to Beam, same type of texture. And I would say that's a little bit more of a white to purple tone. We've got Orbit, which almost looks gray in the palette, but it definitely has a very, very strong blue undertone to it. Milky Way. Ooh, that's so pretty. Okay, I love that. I feel like that looks just like a plain silver in the palette, but it's actually a silver with like a rainbow kind of dimension to it. Kind of hard to describe. It's got like this like pinky golden shift, but it's not like super intense. It's more subtle, but it still makes it different than like your typical silver shadow. Super, super cute. And then last but not least, we have Eclipse, which is a true black matte. That's so pretty. Very, very tempted. Oh gosh, okay. I'm definitely getting a little bit of fallout from the black. It's just a little bit powdery, so I would definitely recommend going in with less. Less is more with that shade, but it is very, very pigmented, so that is so pretty. I feel like obviously the warm tones look really nice, but I'm very set on this section right here. So there is the entire palette swatched out. I think it looks really, really cute. Seems like a really nice formula just from, you know, just from first touch, first impression. Let's go ahead and get this on my face. Okay, so I already primed my eyes with the Anastasia eye primer, and of course, I'm gonna be going in with my Singe Beauty brushes today, even though they are pretty dirty. I think this first look, we're just gonna do something super simple. So I'm gonna start off with the shade Orbit, and I'm just gonna throw that into my outer V and then into my crease. Just using a Singe E03. Nice and fluffy. When I swatched this shade, I thought it was kind of a gray-blue hybrid, but hopefully you can see placing it down on my eyes that it looks very, very blue. It's definitely blending out super easy. Looks seamless. I feel like you could potentially really build this shade up. I'm going in with a very fluffy brush, so I think that's kind of diffusing it a little bit. But maybe let's go into something a little bit more precise, like the E02, that same shade. Just build it up even more. It looks so smooth. I just can't help myself. I'm just adding more and more and more. I'm gonna go back in, just kind of blend out those edges a little bit. Originally, I was planning to go in with Eclipse to deepen right away, but I think I actually want to grab some of Infinity. Just popping that on the outer V. Add a little bit of depth, and I only grabbed it just a touch. It's like I always say, you can add it more easily, but taking it away is a whole different ball game. I'm also going to grab some of that shade and just lightly connect it along the lower lash line. Kind of feeling a little bit of saucer. Part of me wants to use that on the inner corner because I think it would be so stunning like that, but then I also am just overwhelmed with decisions, so I think I'm going to use that on the lower lash line for now. Just kind of build it up and still have that little pop of pastel. Oh, she's cute. Very vibrant. And I really like the texture of the mattes as I'm building them up. They look really, really smooth on the eyes. I feel like this is one of those palettes that, you know, just from what I've used so far, you could probably do an all matte look and it would be beautiful, because sometimes I feel like when I try and do an all matte look and I put a matte all over my lid, sometimes it'll look dry, sometimes it'll look patchy. It doesn't always have that smooth effect, and just from what I've done so far, I feel like these mattes do. I'm torn between using Beam and using Encounter because they both look so pretty. Maybe Beam, maybe Beam. I'm just gonna pop that on the inner corner. Ooh, that's very pretty. I like how vibrant the teal shift is. Definitely looks really cute with Saucer. That could be a really pretty, colorful two shadow look. Okay, kind of just bring it up into my crease a little bit. And then you know what? I might even take a little bit of the shade Encounter just for something different and pop it underneath my brow bone. For the lid, I already know I want to go in with the shade Milky Way from the very beginning. As soon as I swatched that shade, I knew I had to use it all over my lid. It just looks like such a pretty silver. So let me just pop that on with my finger. Actually, I'm going to use my finger on this side and I'll go in with the brush on the other side just so we can test it a little bit further. Okay, that's so pretty. It definitely is kind of adapting to the blues around it. It blended super fast. Also gonna pick that up on the Singe E04. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a brand has an eyeshadow formula that doesn't necessarily pick up very well with their own brushes. I'm like, I feel like this should be coordinated. So I'm hoping that this does really well. Pop that on. Okay, she looks cute. Maybe just a little bit more intense with my finger. I'll go in with a little extra. But I know Angie sprays her shadows sometimes. I'm not sure about with this palette, but I feel like in her videos she sprays her shadows. So that might be a different way to use a brush and get it extra intense, but definitely picks up pretty well. Which I didn't think it wasn't going to, because these do feel like a more traditional shadow. They don't feel like a cream and they don't feel super chunky, which is normally the shadows that I have more trouble picking up with a brush. Just to use a little bit of Eclipse, I'm gonna go in with some of that on a liner brush and just lightly line my lash line. I'm gonna go into the Beaute Bar Lush Lash Mascara just because I've only used this a little bit, so I wanted to go ahead and give it another go today. Okay, I think for my blush for this look, I'm gonna go into Singe Riveting Rhubarb, and I'm just using a very light amount. Not really going for a super blushed look right now. I just wanna add a little bit of color back into my cheeks. Okay, that's what I said, and now look at me. I think I'm gonna take just a touch of Encounter and pop that on top of my cheekbones. Like just a little bit. It is kind of sparkly, but I feel like if we go in with a light hand, it's cute and it kind of matches what I did under the brow bone. For lips, I'm gonna go into the Bodyography Lip Oil in the shade Juicy. This is the most luscious, glossy lip oil. And my lips are very dry right now, so I need it. Might even go with a second layer. So there is the finished first look. I love how it turned out. I feel like everything was super easy to use. So now let's go ahead and dig into the warm tones a little bit more. I'm gonna start off with In for this look, just to get a nice peachy transition tone. I feel like this shade definitely gives you the option to do a little bit more of a neutral look if you wanted. I don't know. I don't know what my vibes are right now. Just throwing that on really quickly with an E03. Kind of wanting to go into some of the yellows because I threw on a little yellow sweater to go with this look. I'm gonna grab a little bit of Wee and I'm gonna pop that on my inner corner. Just for that cute little pastel yellow moment. And then maybe just up into my crease a little bit. Okay, and then also just a little bit on the lower lash line. Just a full moment. See, that's already so cute. I feel like if I just went in with Calm all over the lid and under the brow bone, I could be happy with this look and just keep it moving. Obviously, we're gonna do more than that because we're trying to test this out. Let's go into the shade Soul next. And I'm gonna pop that on my outer V. Ooh, like I said, it's so smooth. I'm kind of just bringing that across the lid. Okay, that kind of took over the peach, but that's okay. I think it looks really pretty, very fun and bright. I'm gonna go into a little bit of Hoodoos also on my outer V, adding in some more orangey tones. Can you tell that I didn't really have a plan for this look? I'm just grabbing whatever feels fun in the moment. I just really wanted to do a second look for y'all. Really get to play with more of these shadows. But I mean, I'm having so much fun with the mattes. I feel like they're blending really, really nicely. Maybe, I don't know that I want to deepen up my outer V a ton, but I could go into my liner brush and just grab a little bit of the shade Peace. Beautiful red tone, and just kind of line my lash line with that. So I kind of just laid that down a little bit more messily than I normally would. And I'm gonna grab, let me see, what's the closest thing I have to a smudgy brush here? Grab a smaller brush and just diffuse that line a little bit. Now we're gonna grab a little bit of Come, and I'm gonna pop that on the inner half of the lid, just for a pop of brightness. I'm also going to use a little bit of that underneath the brow bone. And lastly, for the lid, I'm going to go into Space Dust, that really pretty sparkly gold. And And I'm just going to tap that on the outer half of my lid, kind of blending it into cum. Also really want to play with this and, you know, do like a little mixture of the warm and the cool tones, but that is a future video. What should I do for the rest of the lower lash line? Maybe I'll go into some more of Hoodoo's and just pop that on, kind of blend it out a little bit. Again, just finishing off with the Bella Beaute Bar mascara. Okay, this is definitely the perfect look to go into some of these really beautiful, super warm tones from Singe Beauty for their blushes. I kind of want to use Timid Tomato because I saw a TikTok of Samantha March this morning using Timid Tomato and I was like, that looks so pretty. But also, Persistent Persimmon was made for this look. So I think I'm going to go in with this one. Just adding a little bit of warmth. It's very pigmented, so a little goes a long way. Like that perfectly matches the crease. I even was thinking about going in with one of these eyeshadows as blush, but then I was like, oh, I'll probably just use one of the blushes I already have. But I low-key feel like I could use in as a blush if you have a lighter skin tone. But I also think if you have a deeper skin tone, you might be able to get away with Hoodoo's as a blush. You know, you can always just try it out. There's in. Definitely just a very subtle, soft peach. But I love using eyeshadows as blush. I feel like it's so underrated. Okay, I'm gonna grab a little bit of the orange blush just to match. Ooh, but I actually like those mixed together. That looks so cute. And then you already know I have to go in with Cum as my face highlighter. Angie, what did you do? I'm too childish apparently, but I'm going in with this shade just to add a little bit of glow. See, I really like that. It is a little sparkly, but I think it's such a pretty shade. For my lips, I'm gonna go into the Finding Ferdinand gloss in Rooftop Reflection. I think that's what it says here. The writing is so tiny. I absolutely love how this look turned out. I feel like it looks so pretty, but also so soft at the same time. So I really feel like if you have a similar makeup style to me and you were looking at Galactic Visitor and you're like, it's really pretty, but it is kind of bright and really bold, you can really soften it down and kind of get more of a subtle look while still enjoying the color story of this palette. So I appreciate that. My favorite part of this palette is definitely the mattes. I feel like they are so easy to use, pigmented but buildable, super blendable, and just very, very user-friendly. Just a staple kind of matte formula. I can really see myself reaching back into this one over and over again for the mattes. I feel like the shimmers, I am happy with them, but I'm also not blown away. I think that if you have a lot of special shadows in your collection, these are not really standing out compared to other indie shadows. I think that if you are someone who has more of a preference for a smoother, more traditional powder shadow, then you will enjoy these versus some of the brands that are coming out with like the super intense multichromes, holochromes, and super chunky shadows. I think that these are a little bit more soft. This palette also has a price point of $45, which I think really makes sense that you're not having like these crazy shimmers. I think that for what you're getting, it is a lot of bang for your buck and it's overall a really good quality. I just think that the shimmers are going to be personal preference. That's my only thing, because if your preference is like Ensley Reign shimmers, for example, then these might be a little bit too subtle for you. But if you love Sydney Grace shimmers, then this might be exactly your vibe. I would even say that these kind of remind me of these shimmers in the Flying Fiddles palette from Adept, if you've tried that. Kind of similar vibes as well. Just trying to help you get a gauge for the formula, but overall, I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to see what the brand does next, so I'd be so curious to hear if you picked this up or if you're waiting to see some reviews. Definitely let me know your opinions, and I will see you tomorrow for another day of Indiemas. Bye!